huh? Kevin?
Yes.
Yeah. Because it's a bit. What type of student was Belen, Kevin? What type of student was she?
I was just talking about that before you joined. I remember that she really, really enjoyed the quant part of the course. If I remember correctly.
Because she's a quant, huh? She's a quant. She studied math and physics. Huh?
Like if I remember correctly, she could have taught the course.
Yeah, but she's very good at math, huh?
Yes.
And so you got what? You got a 690, but without practicing much, huh, Belen? You did. I remember that she went to class. After that, she worked on her. She was very busy at work, and finally, what happened to her? And finally, she you called me like 2 weeks before taking the exam. I have to take the exam, and I was a bit surprised. How can you prepare the GMAT in 2 weeks? But she has a good brain and she had a good teacher. So after 2 weeks on your practice, she got the 690. Huh? Okay, Belen?
Yeah.
So you know, Kevin, that Belen applied to HEC only. Okay, she did not apply to any other school. Huh? Okay. So Belen, why HEC only?
First of all, I was gonna apply to HEC, LBS, and HEC. I did apply to LBS, but when HEC accepted me, I rejected the interview that LBS sent me. And HEC was, first of all, because my brother went there, and he had a similar background to mine in the sense that he had no business background. He did an engineer in Valencia, and he found out that he didn't want to go that specific onto engineering. And for me, it was the same. I did physics and maths, and I realized that I love investing, especially startups, etc. And so I had his experience. His best friends also went to HEC, and they all got the career they wanted. Also, the fact that it's top school, and it is in Paris, and that I love the campus. It has a lot of labs, everything to offer. So it was just a bundle of everything, and I was sure that I wanted to go to HEC. The other schools were just in case, but I wanted to get accepted into HEC, and if HEC didn't accept me, I was gonna wait until September, maybe redo the GMAT, and take another year to do internships, but I wanted to be HEC, and I was sure about that.
But tell me, Belen, so if you wanted to go to HEC, it's because you have friends who themselves went to HEC, okay? And also there are things about the school that you like as well, no?
Yeah.
So what are the things that you like in the school? What are the things that you like so much about the school?
When I was looking into different programs, what really stood out from HEC is the fact that there were a lot of clubs on student organizations that HEC offered that LBS or HEC or INSEAD didn't offer it as much. Like there was a huge number with HEC, and it wasn't happening with the rest. And here you have obviously the HEC Net Positive for climate tech, social, etc. You had Equality for Women, you had Investment Club, venture capital, private equity, food, sports. So there were a lot of clubs that I was really into, and I was loving much more the campus life of HEC than of the rest of the programs I was looking into. And also I know from first hand from my brother that campus life in HEC is amazing. His best friends come from that 2 years, and those were his best 2 years. And I have other contacts from LBS, and they didn't feel the same way.
You didn't feel the same way? But it's not an issue for you that HEC is a bit, it's a remote campus. You need a car, for instance, if you want to be in Paris. It's not an issue for you that? I'm the devil's advocate now, okay? So how do you feel that you're not in Paris itself, that you need a car because it's very difficult, public transportation are very bad? How would you accommodate your personal life and your life as a student?
So I know that it's not close to Paris, but I've been living, for instance, I lived in Barcelona 5 years, and it took me an hour and a half to go from where I was living in the center of Barcelona to my university, because I loved living in Barcelona. So I don't care for long distances, and the fact that my brother told me that from from where the HEC campus is to Paris. It's actually quite good connected. He took his car. I'm planning on taking my car too. And he told me that Versailles is very close. It's very nice. The town, everything, it's super nice. And Paris is super, super close to go on the weekend, and that the campus life is so good that you don't want to leave that much, maybe in the weekend, but campus life is so good that you don't want to go to Paris every single day.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Yeah, but it's true that I suggest that you have your car because it's close to Paris, provided that you have your car, because public transportation is not easy at all, okay, especially in the evening. So what was the preparation with, so now, before you tell us about yourself, so what was the GMAT preparation? So how did you prepare the GMAT to get such a good score in such a short amount of time?
So I began the GMAT at the end of October, I think, with Kevin, and he was really good teaching us like how to identify everything quick with the verbal section and with the quantum section. So I remember writing down like 7-10 tips from Kevin that really make a change when you're facing the GMAT. And then my strategy was, because I was working so long, I could only study the weekend. So I prepared only Saturday and Sunday the GMAT, and I will do like mini simulations from the book. I think I did all the exercises in the book at the end. I would do like 30 exercises of each, 30 from the quant side and 30 from the verbal side, and try to do an hour every now and then, but that was a worst preparation. And when I finished the course with Kevin, which I think was December, and I realized that the HEC deadlines were January and March, and that I had to take the GMAT despite the fact that I didn't have enough time to prepare. I was working a lot, so I decided to just work straight for 2 weeks. There was no sleep in between. I would work and then study. I did 3-4 hours of GMAT every day, straight for 2 weeks. Did the that you shared to me, that Senia shared to me about MBA Center and target test GMAT, I think it's called, or where you have a lot of marks. So I did those. I tried to do one every day. I didn't do a lot.
It was that's something that Kevin advised as well. So it was a GMAT club. So in GMAT club, you have a lot of practice questions. That's something that Kevin advised. Because that's true that once people have used the official guide, the thing that is available in GMAT club, because they have a lot of past questions. They have thousands of past questions.
Exactly. So I did that. I would have loved to do much more, but I didn't have the time, and I wanted to take the GMAT as soon as possible so that I could apply to HEC on a fair round, not go on to the fourth round. And that was really my strategy, try to take a lot of time to do both sides, from the quant and the verbal. Actually, my verbal was weaker for me, and at the end I got a higher grade on the verbal side, which was pretty funny. And just take as many, if I had to do it again, I would take much more mock exams, of course, and maybe I would take holidays for a month just to prepare GMAT straight. But you have to find the time every day and study for more than 2 weeks if you want a good score.
Yeah, the fact is that anyway, once you get in the 700, close to 700 or not, you can get in. And when you told me that you had a 690, given your profile, I thought to myself, it's enough. Okay. And remember, I told you, you don't have to spend more time. Let's apply with the 690. It's fine. Even though it's true that when you talk to HEC, they say that 700 is a minimum. But you see, that's why you have to be very careful to what they say. That's why it's also important to work with people who know how it really works. And we believe that someone who has a good profile up to 680, it's workable. Okay. After that, it's an issue with the profile.
That phone was amazing for me because I remember I was super stressed out seeing the 690. I was aiming for a 720 and above, and I was super stressed because I didn't have the time nor the energy, and I was scared of not applying to HEC in round 3 because I was, of course, missing chances. And let's say that what you told me made everything worked out, and I'm very grateful.
Yeah, we gain a lot of time because maybe if we had applied too late, the problem is that you don't have a good profile, but simply there were no seats left. Okay, you, Kevin, as a GMAT teacher, we teach so many students. According to you, I know that the GMAT is important. That's why you teach it. Okay, but do you believe when you talk to tuition officers, when they say there's a minimum score, do you believe in these stories, or you believe that it's not that clear cut?
Of course not. I mean, it's true that business schools do look out for the rankings, and the rankings in some cases are based on GMAT scores of the accepted students. But I think more and more nowadays, business schools are just looking to form the best, most diverse, dynamic class possible. So if they really like you as a candidate, your work experience, your goals, the way you present yourself in the essays and the interview, they're going to make allowances for a GMAT score that's less than ideal. That's just the way it is.
Yeah, because
everything's it's holistic.
Yeah, it's holistic, exactly, because of course it's the profile, and it's the profile that matters. So basically, what they like about Belen is that she's an outstanding student, so they know that she'll have no problem following the class. Okay, maybe the GMAT does not reflect exactly her strengths because she was so busy working on something else. For instance, I give you an example, Kevin. When you're senior student in the UK, okay, you can take all your exams at the end of the year. Okay, so I have many students who spend from September to December just studying. Okay, of course, imagine if you live in the UK, you have already studied 3 years in the UK, your English is pretty good, you can study on the GMAT like 8 hours per day, you get a good score. But they perfectly saw in Belen that, okay, she could not work 8 hours per day on the GMAT, but still, despite all of work, she has done pretty well. Okay, and anyway, given our work experience, our academic profile, they knew that she has the brain and the academic abilities and professional abilities to do well. Okay, so on the whole, probably she has a very good profile, and she has been able to already migrate from an engineering career into a business career. Okay, now basically, Belen, since people do not know you, so me and Kevin, we know you. Okay, can you please introduce yourself now that you have said a bit?
Of course. So I'm from Valencia, and when I graduated high school with honors, I moved to Barcelona. I wanted to do a double degree in physics and maths, which it's very famous in Spain, but I don't know if people from other countries understand the double degree in physics and maths here. It has the highest entry requirements here in Spain. It's a very demanding program, and it's a 5-year program. And when I was on my 5th year, I was 5th or 4th, yeah. When I was ending my degree, I realized that I loved science, but I didn't want to dedicate my entire life. My specialization is nuclear and particle physics, and I realized that I didn't want to spend my entire life on just one subject. I realized that with venture capital, which is what I work at, you have the opportunity to be at the forefront of technological progress and see what's new in every single side of science. So I realized that I really loved investing in startups, venture capital, investment funds, etc. And I pursued an opportunity to work as a visiting analyst in a venture capital in Madrid, which is called K-Fund. Is one of the top VCs here in South Europe. And I've been doing that internship for 8 months. And it has really proven to me that I was right, that I do want a career in science, but maybe on the other side, investing in technology, investing in innovation, finding what's new, supporting those teams, those founders. But given that I don't have no business background and that I want to boost my career, I had to do my master's, and I'm joining HEC this September, thanks to Kevin and Dr. Hubert. And I was doing an MIM for 2 years. Well, maybe I'm doing a 3 program, which is you do the MIM, you take a year in between to do as many internships as you can, and then you specialize yourself, which I plan to do master in specializing in finance. So yeah, that's me.
Yeah, so basically it's true that that's the advantage of the 2-year masters that we have in France, is that you can have a gap year. My son, for instance, who went to ESCP, did that. He did the year 1, and then he had internships. And by the way, it's a very good way for you to get a job, because of course, once you have 1 year experience between the two, usually you get a job. Remember that he got the job from the companies he interned, okay? And it was easy to get, he told me that, remember that he got the final offer in November, so 8 months before graduating. So that's probably the same thing will happen to you. I don't know, you have a question for Belen? I don't want to be the only one to ask questions, Kevin. So what questions have you got for her?
So your program at HEC, how many months is it exactly?
I don't know the exact number of months, but it's 2 years, unless you take a gap year in between, which I plan to do, because that way you get a lot. I want to touch different sectors and be sure that I'm pursuing the right one. So you, instead of doing in 2 years, you take, like Dr. Hubert said, you take a gap year in between and do as many internships as you can, which I think is three across the year.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, Dr. Hubert and Belen, I've got to leave now because I've got a class starting.
Okay,
soon.
so I keep going.
On Monday.
Okay. So I keep going, and thank you, Kevin, for being with us. And
All
of
right.
course, what I want to say is that it's a teamwork, okay? But it's a teamwork. First is Belen, because Belen,
Right.
she's the star, and we have been happy to help you. So I'm going to continue the interview, Belen, together for another 10 minutes. Thank you very much, Kevin, for
I
being
must
with us.
say, it's great to see you again, Belen.
Yeah, you too. Thank you, Kevin.
I really enjoyed having you in class.
Okay.
Thank you.
So
All
you will
right.
not see her again in class. So tell me, Belen, so why have you decided to make a switch? Usually I see a lot of students who make a switch from science to entrepreneurship, from science to consulting, from science into industry, and you have decided to make a complete shift. Why? Because you told me that you have your brother went to that, or your cousin, or your best friend, or yourself, or meetings.
First of all, I don't disregard entrepreneurship. I come from a family of entrepreneurs, and I would actually love to pursue that. But I think that if you want to go to entrepreneurship, you have to follow some kind of path. Working in a venture capital really gets you to see what they're looking for, how they can give you money, how to build a successful company. And really the change was that in my home, everyone has studied either law and economics or engineering. And my father is an entrepreneur. My brother did his engineering and went on to investment, and he went through HEC. So nearly everything you hear in Christmas dinners, lunch, everything is economics, investments, finance, companies, what's new. You hear very little of science, and realize that despite the fact that I loved science, that it was my passion, that being in a lab or being the actual one to questions or unanswered questions wasn't the right path for me. I didn't enjoy that at all. I wanted a more active, more demanding kind of career. And these 8 months doing the internship really proved that I love science, but on maybe with another perspective, like work in an energy consultants or in a climate venture capital, or in a few years build my own climate tech startup. So I wanted some kind of change.
Yeah, I remember that you told me that you like science, but if through investment you can help many scientists and entrepreneurs develop tools or ventures or ideas or projects, you believe that you'll make science move forward much faster than being the scientist in a laboratory. That's what you told me when we were preparing the interviews, and I think it's a good way. So tell me, what have been your contacts? I understand that through family, friends, you have contact with HEC. Have you, since you have been accepted, have you been in contact with other HEC, potential HEC, with other teammates? Do you intend to visit the campus before starting the school year?
So I've just been in contact with a student there. Her name is Maria, which helped me a lot with the process and the interviews, and now it's helping me with housing and everything. I don't know of anyone that has applied to HEC, so I'm unaware of potential candidates or people who has applied or got accepted. I don't know anyone in that sector. And regarding the campus, I maybe go in August, but I'm not gonna finish work until August, and I don't have the time or nor the weekends to go there. But I'll try to go in August because my company closes there, and yeah, I'll try to go then just before we start.
Basically, so what you're saying is that there will be you'll have online contacts with admission officers, with other students.
Yeah.
And then you will move to HEC not before the end of the year. And anyway, you have enough HEC graduates at home. So, and how do you see your career? Because you told me that in reality, when we wrote the application, it was about working in finance.
Exactly. Yeah.
How would you picture your career post HEC, the next 15 years post HEC?
Yeah. I'm not sure because I still have to try some few sectors, but I really love venture capital. However, I know that for me to be successful in venture capital, I need to have some background in investment banking, do maybe 4 or 5 years in investment banking, acquire a deeper knowledge about M&A, etc. So right now, which this may change, my plan is to work for 4 or 5 years in one of the top investment banking firms if I get the chance, and then move on to a venture capital. With that, you can have a high position in venture capital, because the thing that's a bit messy with venture capital is that it's very hard to get a good paid job position. It's very hard. It's not like with investment banking. And if you want to have a good career, you have to start from the top. You cannot start from the bottom. That's why I rejected the offer. My venture capital firm here in Spain, and also because I dream bigger at the end. I want to work in a more international fund. Where I work at right now, we have regulatory limitations. So we basically have to invest 95% of our fund in Spain companies.
Okay, so that's the thing that you see. What do you expect from HEC? So you told me the reasons, but what do you expect in terms of personal development? What do you expect to gain as a person, as a professional?
Yeah. So first of all, or my business gaps, which are a lot. I mean, I do have learned a lot these 8 months working, etc. But I see that there's a huge business gap with me right now, and I want to master everything I do, and I expect HEC to help me fulfill that during the 2-3 years that I'm there. Also, build a strong network, not just of friends, but of potential professional partnerships, and at the end, a network, right? Because if I want to go into venture capital, I need to have a huge network. Because if you wanna receive deal flow and opportunities, the bigger that is your network, the more probable that is. And also to really have the best 2-3 years of my life, and let my experience there turn out as it did for my brother. Make a lot of friends, but close friends. Enjoy all the gay clubs and student organizations they have. I don't want to just focus on sports and class, but I want to enjoy all the programs they have. They have a lot of them. And also enjoy living in France. I've been learning French since I was 10 years old. My 2 roommates back in Madrid are French, and I want to use those 2-3 years to finally be fluent in French. That would be a dream.
Yeah, of course. So final pieces of advice that you would give to someone who wants to apply to HEC. What are the secrets to success?
So I remember in talking with the woman in admissions, which is Zoe Krabs. I remember talking to her 2 years ago, and I showed her my first draft of curriculum and everything, and she was like, Belen, with this, you cannot get accepted into HEC. And she gave me some tips that really worked out. One of them was do a strong internship, not just 3 months, but try to take a gap year, do a strong internship in something that you like, that it's related and it's really gonna help you. Of course, do a good TOEFL and do a good GMAT. And I did that. The thing is that I did that in with not a lot of space between everything. So I would recommend to do all of that, but try and organize yourself and find the time, and maybe start with the GMAT or the TOEFL before the year that you do your application. That would have been great for me. At the end, it was way too many things, and I would recommend that.
Exactly. So it's a very good. I really enjoy talking to you, Belen. Thank you very much for your time. So again, so basically, when I will write my post about you, I will quote you. Belen, you have no chance for HEC, but you show them that you have the profile, and that for Belen, impossible does not exist. Okay.
Yeah, and also recommend MBA Center, because you and Kishan was the one that helped me with all the application strategy and everything, and you both were very helpful, and I wouldn't have made it because I didn't have the time, and you really knew how to help me tell my story in a way that feels as it is successful, and not just a random curriculum or random application. So
yeah, maybe, but you're the one who did most of the work. We're just here to help you, but your profile is very good, and it would have been a big mistake from HEC not to take you. We all know that. Thank you very much, Belen. It was very nice to meet you, and I hope that one day we will meet, probably at HEC, and we finally meet. Have a good day, Belen. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Bye.